America, the land of opportunity where dreams come true and where the democratic process is celebrated with great fervor. Land of the free, home of the brave, and the birthplace of a unique and sometimes perplexing system of choosing its leader. Yes, we're talking about the Electoral College, a system that has been in place since the founding of the nation, yet still manages to baffle many. It's true, we don't directly elect our president through a simple majority vote. Instead, we use this intricate system that involves electors and state-by-state victories. It's a system that confuses a lot of Americans and even more people outside the US. Imagine trying to explain this to someone who just learned about democracy. Imagine explaining this to someone who just learned about democracy. So, you see, the person with the most votes doesn't always win. Instead, we have this group of people called electors who ultimately decide the outcome. Their faces usually say it all. The confusion is palpable and the questions are endless. But before you grab your pitchforks and torches, let's break down this thing called the Electoral College. Why does it exist? How does it work? And why is it still around today? We'll find out why it exists, how it works, and why it's still important today. The Electoral College was created as a compromise between a popular vote by citizens and a vote in Congress. It's time to dive into one of America's most enduring political quirks. This system has been the subject of much debate and controversy over the years. Buckle up, folks. It's going to be a wild ride. From its historical roots to its modern-day implications, the Electoral College is a fascinating aspect of American democracy that continues to shape the nation's political landscape. Let's rewind to 1787. The Founding Fathers were drafting the Constitution, figuring out how this whole United States thing would work. Choosing the president was a big deal, and they had some serious debates. Some wanted direct popular vote. Seems simple, right? But others worried about giving too much power to big states or cities. They also feared the tyranny of the majority. What if the majority ignored the needs of smaller states? Enter the Electoral College, a compromise. It gave states a voice based on their population. More people, more electors. But it also ensured that smaller states wouldn't get completely drowned out. It was a balancing act, trying to make everyone feel heard.
Check one, check.
Here's the gist. The process of electing a president in the United States is more complex than it appears at first glance. Each state gets a certain number of electors based on its representation in Congress, which includes both senators and representatives. This means that states with larger populations have more electors, while smaller states have fewer. However, every state has at least 3 electors, regardless of its population size. There are a total of 538 electors in the Electoral College. This number is derived from the total number of senators, 100, representatives, 435, and 3 additional electors from the District of Columbia, as granted by the 23rd Amendment. To become president, a candidate needs to secure a majority of these electoral votes. Specifically, they need at least 270 out of the 538 available. This majority ensures that the winning candidate has broad support across the country. Here's where it gets interesting. Most states use a winner-take-all system. This means that the candidate who wins the most votes in a state typically receives all of that state's electoral votes, regardless of the margin of victory. For example, if a candidate wins 51% of the vote in a state, they receive 100% of that state's electoral votes. The candidate who wins the most votes in a state usually gets all of that state's electoral votes. This system amplifies the importance of winning individual states, especially those with a large number of electors. This is why candidates focus heavily on so-called swing states or battleground states, where the outcome is uncertain and could go either way. Winning these states can be crucial to securing the necessary 270 electoral votes. This means you can win the popular vote nationwide, but still lose the election if you lose in the right or wrong, depending on your view, combination of states. This has happened in several elections, most notably in the 2016 elections, where the candidates who won the popular vote did not become president. Yeah, it's weird. The system can seem counterintuitive and has been the subject of much debate and controversy over the years. Some argue that it ensures a distribution of power across the states, while others believe it undermines the principle of one person, one vote. It's like winning a basketball game by scoring the most points overall. But your opponent hit more three-pointers, so they win instead. The Electoral College system is unique and complex, and understanding it is key to grasping how American presidential elections work. Section 4. States' rights and keeping things united. The Electoral College isn't just about math. It's about balance. It forces candidates to campaign across the entire country, not just in big cities or populous states. They need to appeal to a broad range of voters in different regions. Think of it like this. The Electoral College encourages candidates to build coalitions and consider the needs of diverse states. This helps hold the country together and prevents certain regions from having too much sway over national elections. It's about making sure everyone has a seat at the table, even if their state isn't hosting the biggest campaign rallies. Section 5. Why the Electoral College still matters today. Now, some folks argue that the Electoral College is outdated. They say it's undemocratic and can lead to a president who didn't win the popular vote. And they're not wrong. It's happened a few times in U.S. history, most recently in 2016. But here's the thing. The Electoral College is about more than just counting individual votes. It's about balancing the interests of states, big and small. It forces candidates to build broad coalitions and engage with voters across the country. It's not a perfect system, but it's ours. And changing it would be a massive undertaking with its own set of challenges and consequences. Section 6. The Electoral College, let's talk about it. The Electoral College is one of the most unique and often misunderstood elements of the American political system. It's a mechanism that has been in place since the founding of the United States, designed to balance the influence of populous states against less populous ones. But what exactly is it, and why does it generate so much debate? So, there you have it. The Electoral College. A system that's both fascinating and frustrating, historic and hotly debated. At its core, the Electoral College is a process, not a place. It consists of 538 electors, and a majority of 270 electoral votes is required to elect the president. Each state's number of electors is equal to the number of its senators and representatives in Congress, which means that states with larger populations have more electoral votes. It's a key part of what makes American democracy unique, for better or for worse. The system was created as a compromise between electing the president by a vote in Congress and electing the president by a popular vote of qualified citizens. This compromise was intended to ensure that smaller states would still have a voice in the election process, preventing larger states from having undue influence. Whether you love it or hate it, understanding the Electoral College is crucial for engaged citizenship. Critics argue that it can lead to situations where a candidate wins the popular vote but loses the electoral vote, as happened in the 2016 elections. Proponents, on the other hand, believe it protects the interests of smaller states and ensures a more balanced representation. It's a conversation starter, a debate igniter, and a reminder that American democracy is a work in progress. The Electoral College forces us to think about the nature of representation and the balance of power between different regions of the country. It also raises important questions about the fairness and effectiveness of our electoral system. So next time you hear someone complaining about the Electoral College, and you will, don't just tune them out. Engage with them. Ask questions, share your thoughts, and listen to their perspectives. Understanding the arguments on both sides can help you form a more informed opinion and contribute to a more meaningful discussion. Debate the pros and cons. Consider the historical context in which the Electoral College was created and how it has evolved over time. Think about the potential reforms that have been proposed, such as the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, which aims to ensure that the candidate who wins the popular vote becomes president. Because the future of American democracy depends on informed citizens who are willing to have these tough conversations. By engaging in these discussions, we can better understand the complexities of our political system and work towards solutions that reflect the values and needs of all Americans. So, let's talk about it and keep the conversation going.